you've actually been asked to give seminars and things where you've been approached to speak to other surveyors about surveying multi-hulls. Is that correct?
Yes. Last year I gave a talk before the national meeting of the National Association of Marine Surveyors, NAMS, about multi-hulls, and there were quite a number of surveyors in that group that knew very little about multi-hulls, and my intention was to try and familiarize them with the animal. Basically, they are different animals than keel boats. They have very different loads. They have very different failure mechanisms, and so there is a reason that people should know about them, and I think that the talks that we're going to give subsequent to this are going to explain some of those same subjects and cover the same subjects.
Before we do that, how would somebody that is interested in purchasing a multi-hull, for example, or just wants to know more about their multi-hull, how would they go about setting up a survey or going through the surveying process or making sure their surveyor is doing their job?
Gee, there's a number of questions there. How does a surveyor do his job? In some cases, surveys are required for insurance, for re-upping insurance. They're always required for financial reasons if you're going to finance the boat. If there's any damage to your boat you're run into by somebody else, your insurance company will set up a surveyor to come and inspect the boat. But on top of that, if a person has a boat that they're familiar with, and they just have questions about what's happening with the boat, they see some cracks occurring, or they want to make a modification or something like that, a multi-hull expert or a multi-hull surveyor can probably help them on a consulting basis. It doesn't have to be a survey with a report. You can just, get consulting time and get your questions asked. I've done that a number of times for lots of different boats that were not of my design, where the owner just wanted to make changes. I mean, obviously things evolve in boat ownership, and people want to add things on. I've surveyed boats that had incredible mistakes made in the modifications to the boat that really, caused some structural deficiencies on the boat. So it's not something that anybody should approach lightly. There are experts out there to talk to, and anybody contemplating modification to their boat should really talk to one.
I see. So when somebody purchases a boat, when somebody goes to sell a boat, and when modifications are done, these are times certainly when a survey or at least some serious consultation is in order. Is that correct?
Yes, and the purchaser of the boat is the guy that pays the survey. He's the guy who is going to assume ownership of the boat, whether it's a new boat or a used vessel, and he's going to need that survey, first of all, for insurance, and second of all, maybe for financial reasons.
Okay.
But more than anything else, he wants to know what the value and the condition of the boat is, and that's really what a survey is. It's an inspection of the boat to determine its condition and value. They're called C&V surveys. The condition is the most important thing. Obviously, a guy buying a used boat wants to make sure that the boat is not going to require a lot of maintenance immediately. A lot of the boats are sold as is, and the owner has no interest in bringing it up to a current specification to make it comply with all of the standards that apply today that didn't apply when the boat was built, probably. So, the new owner might be looking at significant cost to do that, and you're trying to make an assessment of what that cost might be. The severity of the upgrades and repairs and so forth that are required, and that's the real purpose of the survey.
Is there anything else that you want to add to the what, why, when, or how of surveying, John?
Well, let's see. Like I said to begin with, the ultimate aim of the survey, or even just consultation of somebody considering buying a boat. A lot of boats, if they if they're under $10,000, that sort of thing, people might just go buy them without getting a survey.
Mm-hmm.
And the insurance company might insure them without a survey. But, the surveyor will tell the person whether the boat's any good to begin with. If he's familiar with the design, he might be able to give them an idea of how the boat sails if they haven't sailed it before, or if they really don't know how to sail and they're contemplating buying this boat. But what he's really going to do is determine whether the vessel is able to perform the service for which it was designed. There are a lot of early boats, like I said, it didn't sail well, but more than that, they really didn't accommodate people very well. I can name a number of designers that designed really beautiful boats. I mean, when you saw them in the anchorage, you went, wow, that's really a nice-looking boat.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get on board and you go down below, you find out that the living accommodations, the ergonomics, and just the spaces down below really weren't very well laid out to accommodate people, and they were very awkward or small, or bumping your head all the time because the overhead was low. There was lots of compromises made against making the boat comfortable and for making the boat beautiful. So those are dangers, especially in the boats that most people, in the sizes that most people would consider buying, and that is anywhere between the 25 to 40 feet long. When boats get over 50 feet long, they look fairly low and sleek anyway, because the size of the person will fit inside the boat when it's low and sleek fairly well. But the smaller boats, you're talking about having to put cabin structures and so forth on them, and the cabin structures may look oversized and really detract from the aesthetics of the boat. And the designer's problem is always to make the boat look nice and make it accommodate the people well.
Right. One final question, John, about surveying. If somebody wanted to choose a surveyor, how would they go about it? I guess they could just look in a phone book under surveyors and marine surveyors, or go to the NAMS organization. Is that correct?
That is correct. There are two main organizations that certify surveyors. One is NAMS, N-A-M-S, and that is National Association of Marine Surveyors, or SAMS, which is Society of Accredited Marine Surveyors.
Okay.
Both of them have certification levels that start with associate and go right on up to certified. They are available on the web. NAMS is www.namsglobal.org. And the SAMS is www.marinesurvey.org. There are a few independent surveyors still left. Most of them would probably be doing only insurance work or that sort of thing. If they have any question about marine surveyors, they could call any number of recognized designers on the phone and say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a boat, even if it isn't of one of their designs,
right.
On the phone, and say, do you know any good marine surveyors in this area? What you'd like is to find a guy with some sort of level of competence and trust within the multi-hull community that can do the work for you. I work on the West Coast near the San Francisco Bay Area. I've gone all over the country for surveys because the people felt that they wanted a specific person, that is me, and they were willing to pay the price. It does get pricey if you have to travel. And if people call me for surveyors in a particular area, if I know somebody, I will certainly give them a referral. But otherwise, the NAMS and SAMS is a good place to start. And when they find a number of names, call those guys up and ask them what they think about multi-hulls. Ask them if they've surveyed the particular type of one that you're looking for. Try and get some sort of a feeling what their bias is for or against multi-hull,
right,
and what their experience level is. And
exactly.
That goes a long way.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions, especially if you're paying somebody or potentially paying somebody to do work for you.
Right. And the other thing is that when you have a boat surveyed, you're paying this guy. He's working for you. He's your advocate. And even if it's being required by the insurance company for insurance, I always feel that there's a small amount of conflict of interest there. The insurance company is trying to save money by not paying the surveyor directly themselves, and therefore having the surveyor, do the work directly for them. They're asking the boat owner to spend his money to meet their policy requirements. And so when that happens, and I do a survey on those terms, I explain to the owner of the vessel that, hey, I'm working for you. We'd like to produce a survey here that shows compliance with everything that is required for you to obtain insurance, and I'll work with you for that. I'll go on the boat, and we'll come up with a punch list of things that you need to do, and if you want, I'll delay publishing the report until you've made all the repairs and satisfied all the deficiencies, and then we'll publish the report and it'll look clean. It's not like the guy's going to come over and just write you a ticket and say, that's it, I want my money and I'm out of here.
I see.
The surveyor should help you along, and you can talk to him, you can ask him questions. He's working for you, you're paying him. He's your advocate, so use his services wisely, and you'll get more out of it.
Great advice, John. Terrific.